YouTube, how we doing, family? It's your boy Yo, and this is another episode of Yo Hoops. I go through every NBA game every day. Today is Friday, January 30th, and we have a 9-game NBA card. I'm gonna walk you through my thoughts and let you know what sides I like. So please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know your favorite game in the comment section below. Without further ado, let me get into today's recap. Recapping yesterday, I dropped my highlighted play of the day. I took the Atlanta Hawks plus 4.5 points against the Houston Rockets. I was wondering why the line was growing towards Houston throughout the day. The reason was Jalen Johnson ended up being ruled out with calf tightness. That's their best player. Once the news broke, the line grew to Rockets laying 6.5. The Hawks kept it competitive in the first half, but Houston dominated the third and really didn't look back. Final score was 104 to 86 Rockets. This isn't my favorite card overall today, but I'll break down every game per usual and see if we could stack some wins to end the month. Without further ado, let me get into today's games. In our first matchup, we have the Los Angeles Lakers in DC taking on the Washington Wizards. Lakers are minus 400 on the money line, and the total is 229. The Wizards come into this one on the second leg of a back-to-back, but no travel as they remain at home. They got the impressive win over the Bucks last night, but most of their stars played over 30 minutes. Rest should play a slight factor, and at the end of the day, the Wizards have 12 wins on the season. There's a chance Austin Reeves is back in the lineup tonight. He's listed as questionable, but even if he sits, LeBron and Luka should be able to do enough to secure a dominant win. I'm taking the Lakers laying the 9.5 as my first selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Memphis Grizzlies in New Orleans taking on New Orleans Pelicans. Pelicans are minus 130 on the money line, and the total is 232. I can't say I see a real edge either way, but the Pelicans are the healthier team at home, so I'm going to lean in their direction. They're now 5-10 against the spread in New Orleans. The Grizzlies have been able to withstand injuries throughout the season, but they're still a modest 9-11 against the spread on the road. I don't know if I can count on Cam Spencer and Cedric Coward to secure me a win against Zion and Trey Murphy in New Orleans. I'm taking the Pelicans on the money line as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Portland Trailblazers in New York taking on New York Knicks. Knicks are minus 300 on the money line, and the total is 224.5. Like I mentioned, this isn't my favorite card overall, and this game is another perfect reason why. Sure, the Knicks should get the dominant win in Madison Square Garden, but at the same time, Josh Hart is listed as questionable, and laying these extended numbers has not been the move recently. If Denny Advio was playing, I'd feel more confident grabbing the points with Portland, but he's also listed as questionable with lower back tightness. In my mind, the Knicks should win this game, but I can't lay 8 points against a scrappy team like the Blazers. I'm taking Portland plus the 7.5 as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Sacramento Kings in Boston taking on the Boston Celtics. Celtics are minus 550 on the money line, and the total is 219.5. The Kings come into this one on the second leg of a back-to-back, flying from Philadelphia to Boston. They kept the game competitive against the Sixers last night, but they ended up losing it at the buzzer, and most of their guys played over 30 minutes. Again, the Celtics should win this one by margin, but do I really want to lay 11.5 points? Jaylen Brown is also listed as doubtful with a right knee contusion. I think it's more likely we see the Kings compete and lose this one by 8. I'm taking the Kings plus the 11.5 as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Toronto Raptors in Orlando taking on Orlando Magic. Magic are minus 125 on the money line, and the total is 218.5. The big problem if I want to be on the Magic is Franz Wagner being ruled out. We were able to cash with them in a favorable spot on Wednesday, but I don't expect Paolo and Anthony Black to stack huge offensive games. The Raptors have a few of their key guys like RJ Barrett back in the lineup. Even with this game being in Orlando, I can't pass up the plus money with Toronto. The last time we saw these two teams play was on December 29th, and the Raptors won that game 107 to 106. Granted, it was a competitive bout, but Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes, and Emmanuel Quickly combined for just 34 points. That's 11 points apiece from your 3 best players in that game, and they still found a way to win it. I'm taking the Raptors on the money line as my highlighted selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers in Phoenix taking on the Phoenix Suns. Cavs are minus 165 on the money line, and the total is 219. The Suns come into this one on the second leg of a back-to-back, but no travel as they remain at home. They got the huge upset win against the Pistons last night, but Dylan Brooks did end up playing 33 minutes. Devin Booker and Jalen Green are both still ruled out, so on no rest, I can't expect the Suns to compete, even if the Cavs are without Evan Mobley. Donovan Mitchell is streaky, so it's tough to know what you're going to get, but I've seen consistent production from Cleveland's bench recently, which will benefit them in a matchup against a shorthanded squad. I'm taking the Cavs laying the 3.5 as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the LA Clippers in Denver taking on the Denver Nuggets. Clippers are minus 135 on the money line, and the total is 209. The Nuggets come into this one on the second leg of a back to back, but no travel as they remain at home. They won a closely contested game against the Nets last night, so most of their available guys did play over 30 minutes. For the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard is, of course, listed as questionable, but even if he plays, I don't expect the Clippers to come into the Mile High City and get a dominant win. The Nuggets are 9-5 on the season without Jokic in the lineup, and it's looking like he's listed as probable tonight. That's why the line has moved from +6 down to +2.5. I'm taking the Nuggets plus the 2.5 as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we're the Brooklyn Nets in Utah taking on Utah Jazz. Jazz are minus 125 on the money line, and the total is 228. The Nets come into this one on the second leg of a back to back, flying from Denver to Utah. I was impressed by the effort I saw last night, but the only reason they kept the game competitive was Michael Porter Jr. scoring 38 points. Their next highest scorer was Terrence Mann with 12, so now on no rest, I'm definitely worried. They do have a few guys like Igor Demon and Cam Thomas now upgraded to questionable, but knowing how well the Jazz play in Salt Lake City, I'd still lean in their direction. I'm taking the Jazz on the money line as my next selection of the evening. In our next matchup, we have the Detroit Pistons in Golden State taking on Golden State Warriors. Warriors are minus 135 on the money line, and the total is 224.5. The Pistons come into this one on the second leg of a back to back, flying from Phoenix to San Francisco. They got their asses kicked by the Suns last night, but I could make the case for a look ahead spot tonight. Detroit comes into this one at full strength, barring rest. Considering the injuries Golden State's playing through, it's going to take at least a 40 ball from Curry just to compete in this game. I'm taking the Pistons laying the 2.5 as my last and final selection. And that's going to conclude today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Last couple days of the month, so let's finish it with a bang. I appreciate the support so much. I do this every day for free, so please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It's your boy, Yo! And until the next one, I'ma catch y'all. Peace.